Hey everyone, Knock the Hero here. Today I am playing Beacon Pines. This was recommended to me by another viewer. If you have any other recommendations for games you'd like to see on this channel, feel free to leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Alright, I guess let's move on to Chapter 9.
A speech to end all speeches.
Oh man.
Luca awoke to find himself face down in bed. He moaned into his pillow. Why would Gran drug him? Or rather, why was she trying to drug Mr. Nuncreed?
Why not? He seems kind of creepy.
Shaking the questions from his woozy head, Luca snapped back to the matter at hand.
The festival. So we're just gonna go to the festival and like try to stop her? Or, like, what's the plan here? Alright, she's not here. This is still open though. We just gonna like ignore. Where have you been? Gran put something in the jam. Yeah, we know. Secret messages for secret conspirators. Not this one, the one intended for Mr. Nuncreed. Put me to sleep. Whoa ho ho, sly devil. I think she's trying to remove him from the equation. He might be in danger. Have you found anything? We looked around, but haven't seen anything odd. Your Gran is nowhere to be found. But Mr. Nuncreed is just loafing around waiting for the speech. What speech? Mayor Gus just got up to the podium. Everyone is gathering at the stage. Let's get moving. Oh man.
Augustus Valentine nervously wiped his brow.
Ahem. Is this thing... hello, Beacon Pines. I'm Augustus Valentine, your mayor, and... I suppose you already know that. Oh yes, before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment to recognize someone who couldn't be here today. This town wouldn't be where it is today without my father, Sharper Valentine. So I thought we could begin with a round of applause befitting such a great man. Wow, nobody clapped. Even that's more than the old codger deserved.
Gus cleared his throat and awkwardly loosened his tie.
Right, where was I?
William Kerr bounded on the stage with the energy of a preacher at a big tent revival.
Gus Valentine, everyone!
He gave Gus a hearty slap on the back and motioned him off the stage.
Let's hear it for our mayor! What a great turnout. Ah, heck, I didn't prepare anything. But I suppose I could say a few words. Would be ashamed to waste such a beautiful podium.
Mr. Kerr pulled a thick stack of note cards out from his vest.
Didn't prepare anything? Community, conviction, commitment. These are the things we celebrate at Perennial Harvest. For us, these are the pillars of the bridge to a better tomorrow. But I think it's time to add a new pillar. Change. Change is a powerful thing. It's an inexorable, unavoidable, and undeniable. And I am dadgum thankful for it. Change is the reason we're all together today. It's hard for me to believe that it was only 4 years ago when fate brought me here. A simple business trip which brought me to a small town which would change my life forever.
Mr. Kerr took a moment to survey the crowd.
You know what?
He wiped away a single tear.
From the second I set foot in Beacon Pines, something about this place has held me captive. You see, change represents opportunity. It represents potential. It was change that helped me recognize the potential of this place. To see that the people of this town, despite suffering great loss, still held on to the things that made them special.
He thumped the podium to emphasize each word.
Community, conviction, commitment, change.
Mr. Kerr
Just doesn't
nodded
roll off the tongue,
confidently,
man.
biting his lip.
No, it just doesn't roll off the tongue as good as those other things.
The crowd was silent, in rapt attention.
Fate made a perfect match that day. Nothing is more important than you all. To you all than the community. And Perennial Harvest is a community first and foremost.
Mr. Kerr methodically made eye contact with each section of the crowd.
The only way you made it through the foul harvest was an unshakable conviction. A conviction that a better tomorrow was just over the horizon. Perennial Harvest was founded on the conviction that we are that horizon. This festival is a symbol of our commitment to each other.
His voice began to build to a crescendo.
We now walk hand in hand into a future we will shape together. And that is what change is all about. Grabbing the future by the scruff of the neck and making things happen. Change is a choice. I am tickled pink that we will all be making that choice together. How great is that? Just imagine what we can accomplish. What was that?
The crowd began to look around nervously.
Don't worry, Little Thunder isn't going to ruin this day. Everyone remain calm.
Mr. Kerr quickly flicked through his note cards.
Where was I? Through all of my travels, I have learned one true thing. One always reaps what they sow. We have all planted a lot of good in this town. And so it is with a happy heart that I can proclaim,
He raised his hands up to the heavens.
our harvest awaits. What is this? What is
At that
this?
moment, a merciless wall of impossibly cold air ripped through the crowd, instantly freezing everyone and everything it touched.
Huh. So what, how?
For a man like William Kerr, this was a fitting way for things to end. On a stage, with an entire town frozen in rapt attention for the rest of time. The end.
I feel like that is not the end. There's probably more, right?
There's that ice again! Whenever I think we're getting close, it comes along and ruins everything! Maybe we should just quit? Maybe you should just close the book, walk away, and never think of me again. No, I don't mean. We got a little closer this time. We just need to try again.
We just need to stop
Please.
Gran. Okay. There are two other options to this now. I also have this over here too. But I think I'm gonna stay on track with this one. They'd run the classic good cop, chill cop.
They'd run the classic good cop, chill cop interrogation.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a real thing. I'll handle this, just gotta play it cool.
Luca walked calmly to the light switch, flicking it off and on a few times. Mr. Tolliver shook his head, gathering his wits.
Golly, I sure got my bell
He
rung.
looked over to find Luca, who returned a calming grin.
Sorry, Mr. Tolliver. This was all a big mistake. Luca, what's going on here? Why do you have me strapped down? No one's fault, really. Rolo just got a little startled. Rolo's here?
Rollo and Beck emerged from hiding to give a timid wave.
Well, alright. Mistakes happen. You kids gave all Harem a good scare. Let's just get me out of these ropes and call it even.
Luca glanced over to Rollo and Beck, who replied with skeptical looks.
Mr. Tolliver, why are you in my grand's basement? I'm here to help, of course. Help with what? What's my gran up to? If you'll just cut me loose, I can show you. How do I know we can trust you?
Mr. Tolliver exhaled with disappointment.
Luca, have I ever done wrong by you? No. And since your gran moved to town, have I been nothing but welcoming? Yeah. So why would I turn my back on your family now? It's just... all this stuff seems pretty weird. Bored with names of people from town, an archive of my dad's old disturbing patient notes,
Luca gestured to the corner.
barrels of explosives? I can explain everything. You just need to untie me. You kids deserve an explanation.
Luca looked again to Rollo and Beck. This time they shrugged. Luca began to slowly loosen the bindings. Mr. Tolliver gently rubbed his wrists.
It's a good lad. This'll all make sense in time.
He edged imperceptibly toward the stairs as he spoke.
It wasn't that imperceptible. You see, this town has secrets, Luca. A very dark past indeed.
Before the kids had even noticed his movement, Mr. Tolliver was at the light switch.
A past that must be brought to...
Punctuated his final words by flicking the switch and rushing up the stairs.
Light! Son of a...
Beck darted to the wall and turned back on the lights. It was too late. Rollo confirmed what they all heard.
He just locked us down here?
Mr. Tolliver's muffled voice came from behind the door.
I wasn't lying, you know. This is for your own good. You kids just keep tight down there. And let the adults handle this.
They looked bewildered at each other.
Play it cool, huh? Not now, Beck.
They heard the staccato thump of quick steps exiting the house. The kids looked down in resignation. This isn't how it goes in Hank Atomic. For some reason, they'd always assumed it was up to them to save their town. Luca opened his mouth, hoping to conjure some magical words to make this right. Only a hollow croak escaped. The end.
Wow, that was just its own ending. Okay. What had happened if I played through that first?
Well, we certainly aren't going to find a grand resolution to our tale locked in a basement. Back to the drawing board.
Okay, let's try Sly.
They'd run the classic good cop, sly cop interrogation. Luca and Rollo ducked behind a barrel, leaving Beck to her task. With a few crisp snaps, she roused Mr. Tolliver.
What? What's going on here? You're that Modwell girl. Please, call me Beck. Sorry about all
Mr.
this.
Tolliver looked down and shifted a bit, testing his restraints.
It seems there's been a mix-up. You see, I'm down here for the same reason you are. Juniper sent you here?
Beck caught herself before letting the surprise manifest on her face. She'd already gotten him to reveal his relation to Gran. This was gonna be easy.
You know how Juniper is with her precautions. Operation Sparkplug has us all on edge. I guess she thought you needed some backup. But she sent a child? What better way to avoid prying eyes? Who would suspect a kid? I suppose that makes sense.
Mr. Tolliver wriggled a bit in his restraints.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Beck quickly removed the ropes.
That had to be uncomfortable. A little, yeah. But you understand. We never know who to trust in this town.
Mr. Tolliver rubbed the growing knot on his forehead.
Very true. So it turns out we're both here
Beck
to
twirled her hand, as if to prompt Mr. Tolliver to finish her thought.
destroy the evidence.
Beck shook her head and clicked her tongue.
Yep, the old gal is nothing if not thorough.
Mr. Tolliver let out an amused huff in agreement.
She sure is. Can't blame her, though. If anyone were to find out that we're going to destroy the source... Oh, we both know how bad that might be. No one will know anything once I finish cleaning things up down here.
Beck was on a roll now, playing Mr. Tolliver like a fiddle.
You sure you can finish this up on your own? Juniper trusted me for a reason. You can leave the rest to me. Good. There is one more loose end I'll go work on. Loose end? Oh, it's nothing really. The other day I had the radio on scan while restocking the candy shelf. And wouldn't you know it, I intercepted an odd phrase in a perennial harvest transmission. Underground secrets. That's ominous. I think it might be a password, but Juniper dismissed it. Said it wasn't mission critical. What's the password for? We don't know. So we have a password and know where to put it. It's gotta mean something, right? Good thinking. You should probably go work that out. I've got this under control. That's a relief. Between you and me, this basement gives me the willies.
Heading for the stairs, Mr. Tolliver hesitated and turned to Beck with a puzzled look. She grinned and gave him a peppy wave. With a shrug, he continued up the stairs, whistling a jaunty tune.
You guys catch that? Sure did. This whole time Mr. Tolliver's had a candy shelf, but all he ever sells us is apples!
Beck blinked slowly in disappointment.
The password, Rollo. Well, sure, but once things are back to normal, I'll be having a word with Mr. Tolliver about that candy shelf. Fine. In the meantime, I've got an idea.
She turned to the table and began tearing small scraps of paper.
He said he heard a password on the radio. Any good spy transmission is never what it seems.
Beck marked each scrap of paper and leaned back.
We just need to find the hidden meeting. Okay. What's another word for underground? Buried, covered. Could it be cover-up? Maybe it's one of those each letter is a number thingies. So U would be 21, N would be 14, D would be... Oh, it's an anagram. Nuncreed's drugstore. What?
Luca and Beck looked at Rollo with amazement.
Rollo, that was incredible. Well, it's either that or Kren's nude rug store. Yeah, I think you were right the first time. How did you do that? What can I say? I love ciphers. Well, I guess we know where to go next. Yeah, how does he all tie into this? I gotta know. I gotta know. How does he all tie into this? Because he clearly does who, what. You scared me half to death. Sorry. You kids haven't seen Mr. Tolliver around, have you? Nope. He's got me waiting around like the last slice of pie. I swear that man would be late to his own funeral. Ooh, do I have any more fishing things? Nope, still all the same.
Gently baited. Good for skimming the...
You're late, Augustus. Sorry, sister. Was caught up with work. Work? You? I had a few more details to lock down for the festival. Oh, what do you have to report? What is this insipid town festival really about? I think
Gus looked around nervously.
Mr. Kerr really does just want to do something good for the town. He's actually a pretty nice guy. You should spend some time with him. I didn't pull strings installing you as mayor so that you could make friends. Your job is to help me figure out what Kerr and Perennial Harvest's true intentions are with this town. We have a responsibility. This is our father's town. Was. Excuse me? This was our father's town. He's gone, Eris, and he isn't coming back. Father left us with nothing but problems. Mr. Kerr came here and offered to help us. We accepted that help. We didn't agree to them turning Father's warehouse into a toxic dumping ground. That is just a temporary agreement. The glow can be seen from our damned backyard. They are dumping their nasty little secrets on us. When this all inevitably goes wrong, who do you think will be blamed?
Eris's cry hung in the air.
We have a new choice to make now, sister. This town is going to change, whether we like it or not. Are we going to choose to be a part of that future, or be forgotten in the past? It's a shame. Father named you Augustus, but you will always just be a Gus. Good night, Eris. I'll see you at breakfast tomorrow. It's getting late, children. What's your point? Knowledge, he spat with a sneer. There exists a gulf between knowing something and being able to do a damn thing about it. I do hate it when the villain makes a good point. That's a good point. Where are we going? Man, I forgot already. Oh, we're going to Mr. Nuncreed's.
Solomon stood proudly at the entrance to the drugstore, holding a brown bag overflowing with black licorice.
Hey, Solomon. We're looking for Mr. Nuncreed. Is he still in there? I'm afraid not. Then where'd you get the candy from? You might say we have an agreement.
Solomon
An
shoveled
arrangement.
a surprising amount of licorice into his mouth.
Sometimes it's the small pleasures in life. Though we might not always have family to rely on, licorice has never let me down. Well, I can't say licorice would be my first choice, but whatever floats your boat. You can tell a lot about a person by their choice of confection. Oh, yeah, I guess. I like sour gobs. I'm certain you do. Always wonder why Mr. Nuncreed kept licorice in stock. You must eat enough of it to make it worthwhile. There are many ways to earn loyalty. For some, it's as easy as cold hard cash. Well, he's right, it's locked. There's gotta be more clues. Okay, let's see. Have you ever seen anyone actually use this thing? Besides Mr. Nuncreed, no.
Beck cupped her hands on the glass to peek inside.
That is not a normal phone booth. It's got, like, a blinky keypad. Why would there be a blinky keypad? Kren's Nude Rug Store! I mean, Underground Secrets! The password!
Beck flung open the door, and they all squeezed in.
Alright, let's see here.
Luca cracked his knuckles and entered the letters into the keypad.
Underground Secrets. Sounds like that did something. Great, now what? I guess we... Ah!
The inside of the phone booth dropped loose from its shell. Without even the space to panic, they closed their eyes, held their breath, and accepted their fate. Suddenly, the chaotic descent slowed to an effortless landing. It was unclear where they ended up, but at least it was solid ground. The air was stagnant and smelled vaguely of chlorine.
I knew it! You knew there was a secret hub full of strange tubes under the phone booth? Of course I did. Didn't I say that? No. I definitely thought it. Luca, do you remember when I said how cool it would be if the trans-dimensional conduits from Hank Atomic Issue 12 were real? Rollo, at one point or another, you've said that about every technology ever discussed in Hank Atomic. That's why I'm such a good predictor. Looks like each of these has something written on them. Mining Operations Alpha. You guys have mines here? Not that I know of. This town is all farms and fertilizer. And a series of tubes. Pa always says you can only trust a miner up to the point when they hit gold. I'm not sure how that wisdom applies in this exact situation. That's the thing about Pa, you don't always realize what he means until it's too late. Perennial Harvest main office. That's where my mom works. What does she do? Science stuff? Is she involved in all of this? We just moved here. How could she be involved? True. Valentine Fertilizer Warehouse. Isn't that where you almost got snatched? Yeah. Why would Perennial Harvest have a tube going to the old Valentine place? This is starting to feel like something big. So... the suit has a broken mask. So we have found our mystery warehouse creeper. We've at least found their hazmat suit. If it walks like an Uncreed and talks like an Uncreed, let's not jump to conclusions. Just saying. That's a lot of buttons. Stand aside, Earthlings. I've read enough Hank Atomic to know my way around sci-fi tech.
Rollo's hands hovered over the field of blinking buttons.
Eeny, meeny, miny. Rollo, what did you do? Nothing. I didn't even mow yet. What was that? Hide. Where? There's nothing but weird tubes down here. Just get back. Well. Yeah. Awesome. You all need to come with me now. We aren't going anywhere with you. Not until we get some answers. Mr. Underground Secrets. I told them it was an absurd password. But they love anything that makes them feel clever. They who? That's no matter. If I can keep you hidden until after the festival, I might be able to save your skins. We don't care about our skins. Hold on now, I like my skin. This all stops now, Uncreed.
Joseph waited for a moment in silence.
You sound just like him. Who? Walt. You don't get to talk about my dad. You know, your father and I were friends back before.
He gestured toward the strange tubes.
All of this. That's a lie. It's true, I used to bounce you on my knee. What happened? Same thing that always happens. Reality, complications, life. We were a team, Walt and I. An idealistic doctor and a bright-eyed pharmacist. Both hell-bent on helping folks. So you were his sidekick? No. We were partners. He helped the patients and I helped him. Yep, total sidekick.
Nuncreed let out a growl of a sigh.
Luca, I need you to know this. I need someone to know this. One day, Sharper Valentine comes to us. Says he's got an opportunity. He'd found something he didn't quite understand. And he was willing to pay us both handsomely to help him understand it. And my dad said no. Your father and I both believed in helping people. But the thing I could never get him to understand was, it's a lot easier to help others if you help yourself now and then. Classic sidekick into villain plotline. Walt loved being righteous almost more than he loved his family. He was wrong about one thing though. When he begged me not to take Valentine's offer, he said, Joseph, if a person says yes one time to Sharper Valentine, he'll make sure they keep saying yes to him until the day he's dead and gone.
He shook his head wistfully.
Sharper's long gone, but he's still got me saying yes. Is there a point to this sob story? Not really, no. Just an old man trying to delay what needs doing.
Nuncreed took a menacing step towards the children.
I tried to keep you safe. I tried to keep you and Juniper out of this. But you forced my hand.
Luca began to laugh.
What? You really don't know? My gran isn't out of this. She's been scheming right under your nose. Juniper? Seems like she's planning on crashing the town's party. She's going to disrupt the festival? Why would she?
The color drained from Nuncreed's face.
How does she know? Apparently she knows a lot of things. What? Let's just say this isn't the only underground lair we've busted into today. And honestly, hers is way cooler. She's got maps and explosives and bad intentions, big man.
Nuncreed grabbed Luca by the shoulders. His eyes were frantic.
You need to tell me what she's going to do right now. She doesn't understand what it is she's messing with. Tell me now. She's in danger, boy. I don't know. She had a map with a mark on the fountain in town square. The fountain, but why
A
would...
jolt of realization struck Mr. Nuncreed.
She knows about the source? What the heck is the source? If she tries to destroy the source, it could catalyze and... Dear God, she's going to freeze us all. You all need to run. Run where? Away. As far away from this town as you can get. Head west and don't look back. That did not go how I expected. So... we're totally following him, right? Totally. See you on the other side. You good? Yep. I love this town.
Chapter 8.
Ooh, that was a lot to unpack. Holy crap. Welp. Alright, chapter 8. We are following Mr. Nuncreed, who finally figured out what the heck he's about. Still don't know what the heck Gran's about.
The cold, hard truth. Beck leapt up, allowing the suction to yank her into the dark.
That sounds dangerous.
Dimness eclipsed around her like the shutter of a camera as she seemed to cover great distance in mere moments. Her only points of reference were glints of upcoming turns, which approached with frightening speed, only to carry her gracefully along. She heard the tinny, distant echoes of Rollo's glee. Once she stopped fighting against it, the ride was impossibly smooth.
It sounds like fun. I mean, you know, if you're ignoring the whole, like,
All
going
of
to
a
your death
sudden,
thing.
as if minutes had passed in an instant, light blazed into view. A burst of wintry air snuffed across her face, and she was flung out into the cold.
What? That was intense? Yeah. I think I might have parted with some fluids in there. Any idea where we are? Somewhere cold? Doesn't look like it got on any of us. I didn't feel like we traveled that far. So where did it all go? This place sucks. Why would anyone even want to blow something up out here? The only way to find out, I suppose. We gotta catch up to Nuncreed. I think he went this way. This way? Oh my god, it's Beacon Pines but frozen. This looks familiar, yeah. Maybe we can clear off the snow? No time, Nuncreed's getting away. This is Beacon Pines. Yeah, look at it. But frozen. Or like... Okay, this is starting to feel really familiar. I may not be the most well-versed on all things Beacon Pines, but this does look like some sort of frozen replica of the town. Ah, I got it. It's so obvious now. Mr. Nuncreed is an alien. Rollo. Stick with me here. His species can only live in sub-zero temperatures. Oh boy, here we go. The source is their base camp dimension, so naturally they keep it cold. We found it by traveling through those metallic wormholes back there. The final objective, kill us all and shapeshift into a Beacon Pine citizen of their choosing. You never really had me, but you very much lost me there. You get used to it. We should keep moving. It's like an alternate timeline, Beacon Pines.
Corner to the frozen town square, they spotted Mr. Nuncreed inching cautiously toward a pit at its center. He held his arms out gingerly, as if approaching a beast in the wild. Upon closing the distance, Luca recognized what Nuncreed was after. Gran stood confidently at the edge, one arm outstretched over the abyss. Nearby, a wheelbarrow had been emptied out. She held a lit torch, which flickered in the bitter wind.
This is getting intense, man. Juniper, I don't know what you think you're doing, but I assure you this is not going to solve anything. If you drop that, you've doomed this whole town. Oh, it wasn't me who doomed this town. I've been watching you, Joseph. I know what you've done. You and your co-conspirators. Gran? What's happening? Luca, you and your friends need to leave right this moment.
Mr. Nuncreed turned back toward the kids, desperation in his eyes.
Listen to your grandma, Luca. This is between me and Juniper.
Rollo and Beck held steadfast in awe. Luca approached closer. Mr. Nuncreed spun back toward Gran, his voice growing louder.
You've got it all wrong, Juniper. Just hand over that torch. You don't understand what you're doing. How could I possibly trust you to do the right thing? Walt told me everything. He trusted you and you betrayed that trust. Luca, did you know that this man's entire life is a lie? If it weren't for him, your father might still be alive.
Mr. Nuncreed winced with anguish. His voice hardened.
That's not true.
They both now yelled, not to each other, but at fate itself, making their peace with long-held burdens. The wind howled with encouragement.
Walt was like a brother to me. We just had different ideas about how to effect change. Very convenient that your way just happened to line your pockets. Now that's not fair.
They menaced at each other, both catching their breath. The moment balanced on a knife's edge. Amid a blur of emotions and memories, Luca's mind flooded with questions. The wind calmed, as if to give him the stage.
What choices am I about to have? Weep? That's my only choice? Oh
In
man.
the stillness, he began to weep. It was all just too much. Falling to his knees, Luca whimpered softly, The tears crystallized as they hit the snow. Gran stared at Luca for a moment with warm sympathy, remembering why this was all necessary.
This'll all make sense soon, Luca. Then everything can go back to normal. I promise.
She stiffened up and brandished the torch at Mr. Nuncreed.
You can't hide behind those people any longer, Joseph. Once their precious source is destroyed, we'll see where their loyalties fall. Juniper, don't.
Ignoring his final plea, Gran flung the torch into the deep darkness. She smiled and exhaled in relief. Mr. Nuncreed moaned in resignation. The torch echoed as it ricocheted down the hole, punctuated with a thunderous thud.
You see, Joseph, I've learned one very important lesson in life. If you want things to change, then you must be willing to.
Before Gran could finish, the ground shook her to silence. Gran only had time to spin around and run to Luca. Her attempt to shield him, an honorable but trifling act. Unflinching love, pitted against an unthinking horror, there was no contest. Her warm embrace froze in an instant. That is where they remain, fixed in place, forever. And so, our story ends on this melancholy scene.
So the ice affects here too, even though it's ice?
In a town brought low by its secrets, sits the frozen statues of a misguided band of meddlers. The end. Well, that was dire. On the bright side, we finally figured out where all the ice is coming from. Now, we just need to find a way to deal with a mystic, unfathomable force of nature.
Okay, I think I gotta go up the other branch. This is my only next choice left. I'm sure there were other options that pop up over there, so I'm gonna have to find those. Alright, way back to this crazy part of the story. That was a whole other branch. Luca drew himself up and decided to take the only option they had left. Flight.
Luca drew himself up and decided to take the only option they had left. Flight. He squinted down the barrel of the mission control defense cannon, aiming it through an opening in the dense tree branches. He looked up with surprise as it struck true and taut.
Wow, I can't believe that worked. Hey, Mr. Kerr, we'd love to hear your thoughts, but I'm afraid we have places to be. Come on, Iggy. See ya, jerks. Fine, we know where that leads them. This way, we'll take the tunnels.
Luca and Iggy winced as they sprinted through the thicket. The branches clawed at them, reluctant to give passage. After what felt like a marathon, Luca stopped in his tracks as they reached the clearing. What the? That was all he was able to say before Iggy slammed into his back. The boys tumbled down a steep decline and crashed with a wheezing thud on a surface as hard as ice. In fact, it was ice. Chapter 5.
Oh man, all the way back to chapter 5. Okay, well, when we return, chapter 5. Again!